You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't KIEQ on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't KIEQ on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't KIEQ on the mic.
Day one of Chicago Bears training camp is now in the books, Bears fans, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of KIEQ on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Bears fans, make sure you also do me a huge favor by also hitting the like button on today's episode of KIEQ on the Mic. So, Bears fans, the Chicago Bears took the practice field at Hallis Hall for the very first time for Chicago Bears training camp. So let's go ahead and break down some notes from Bears practice number one today. First and foremost, Bears fans, practice went over an hour, and the Chicago Bears will have 4 practices before their first off day on Wednesday. So just wanted to make that note. And obviously, we all know that the first day in pads will be next Saturday on July 27th. Let me know down below in the comment section if you guys will actually be attending that practice. I believe that is going to be open to the Chicago Bears fans. So let me know down below in the comment section if you guys will actually be at the Chicago Bears first padded practice. That should be a really fun time. Once again, I did say yesterday that when the pads come on, the players love that day, right? You know, if you are really into football, that's what it's all about, is being able to have some contact in pads for the very first time. So that'll definitely be a fun practice. Good news, Bears fans, the Bears had full attendance at day one of Chicago Bears training camp practice. The only person that was not in attendance was Odunze due to a personal reason, but I don't think it's anything to be worrying about. I believe that he will be at practice tomorrow. Just had to take care of something today, but he will be at practice for the Chicago Bears tomorrow. Karan was present. He is on the NFI list. Hopefully he's rehabbing well. I know Ryan Poles did say yesterday during his press conference that he is rehabbing well, and he should be good to go here pretty soon. Gerald Everett was also present at today's Chicago Bears training camp practice, riding the stationary bike. He has also started Chicago Bears training camp on the NFI list. Moving on, Braxton Jones and TJ Edwards are both limited to start training camp. Head coach Matt Eberflus made it very clear after practice that yes, they are starting camp on a limited basis, but they are very close to being a full go for the Chicago Bears, and these injuries are nothing major. So that's obviously good news. Now moving on to the offensive line, Chicago Bears fans. The Bears actually rotated centers with the first team O-line. Ryan Bates actually took the majority of the snaps during team period, and he actually mixed some of those reps with center Doug Kramer. I have no clue where Coleman Shelton is on this rotation, but all I know is from the notes that I heard from the Bears insiders that were at today's training camp practice that it was Ryan Bates taking the majority of the snaps during team period mixed in with Doug Kramer. This is going to be a situation all training camp long that we're going to keep a close eye on. I personally feel that Ryan Bates is a better fit at right guard, but to me, I think the Chicago Bears or Ryan Poles are going to give Nate Davis one more crack at it due to the fact that they did pay him all that money last offseason. But personally, I would love to see Ryan Bates at right guard, or either Coleman Shelton or Ryan Poles may go out and get a guy like Connor Williams to fill that void at the center position, or maybe Coleman Shelton can also be that guy for the Chicago Bears offensive line. Matt Eberflus did state after day one of Chicago Bears training camp that the Bears will mix the O-line and D-line, so all the guys can get experience and exposure. I think that's great. Honestly, you know, you want to have the best starting 5 on both the D-line and offensive line, but you want to make sure the backups are also ready to go as well, because you know injuries can happen, and we are all very aware that the Chicago Bears offensive line can sometimes get injured in a hurry. So now moving on to the best play of the day for day one of Chicago Bears training camp. The best play of the day was Jaquan Brisker breaking up a Caleb Williams pass intended for Tyler Scott on a corner route. Brisker was able to jump the route, and he batted the ball down. Obviously, that's really good to hear. It's just day one, right? So nothing too crazy. That was a really good play to note by Jaquan Brisker. We all have high expectations for a guy like Jaquan Brisker. I think he's going to have a very big year for the Chicago Bears defense. Now moving on, as practice ended with a 2-minute drill, first team offense led by Caleb Williams did not score during the 2-minute drill. But something funny to actually note is that Caleb Williams actually caught his own pass after Gervon Dexter batted the ball down. Caleb Williams then proceeded to just run out of bounds. So it sounds good that, Gervon Dexter was able to get in the backfield, keep his hands up, bat the ball down. But Caleb Williams was able to catch his own pass and run out of bounds. I thought that was something funny that I wanted to know on today's episode of KIEQ on the Mic. So Bears fans, a question that I really want to ask you guys on today's episode of KIEQ on the Mic is, how many snaps should Caleb Williams actually get during preseason? This is a kind of a weird question because, of course, you want Caleb Williams to get as much exposure as possible, but also you don't want to risk him getting injured in a very meaningless game. You do want to give him as much reps as possible. I know that Matt Eberflus did talk about it yesterday in his opening press conference prior to the start of Chicago Bears training camp. So what I'm going to do right now is actually show you that quick little clip of the expectations of what Matt Eberflus plans are for playing time for Caleb Williams this preseason. Check this out, Bears fans.
Hey, Matt, do you anticipate playing him more than you would with a normal quarterback during the preseason to try to get him ready for the start?
Yeah, we talked about that in the spring a little bit, looking back at what some other guys have done in the past. And yeah, we certainly want to do that, and we'll take that week to week. But there's value in really all the reps when you think about it, because he's going to be going against the one defense. In preseason games, you don't get all the looks sometimes that you would get during practice. So I think there's equal value to going against the ones, every single day, and also getting some of those preseason reps as well.
Have you mapped out how many snaps they'll get in preseason? Have you guys talked about that?
Yeah, we've looked at it. We're discussing it. We haven't made any decisions, but certainly want to get them some reps. I know the guys last year got 45 to 55 reps, in terms of those guys, and we're looking at that, right in that range. We'll see. But again, it's always week to week because you got to see what the health of your line is and where everybody is. But certainly, all those exposures are equally as valuable.
So overall, Bears fans, I really like the plan from head coach Matt Eberflus. I think 45 to 55 snaps should be good. Once again, you do have to understand, and just like Matt Eberflus stated, he will be going against the #1 defense for the Chicago Bears. And I think when you have guys like Montez Sweat, Jalen Johnson, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards coming at you every single day, even Kevin Byard, I think those guys will help Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears starting offense get better day by day. They also will have a joint practice with the Cincinnati Bengals. So he'll also get to see some different looks there as well. And then, of course, when you are playing those snaps against teams like the Buffalo Bills, that is one of the top teams in the AFC, right? I don't think he's going to play in the Hall of Fame game, which to me is totally fine. Get some of those other guys reps as well. You don't want to risk anything. But I think 45 to 55 snaps during the preseason, going along with practicing every day against the first team defense and then that joint practice with the Cincinnati Bengals should be plenty. I do understand that he's a rookie. You want to give him as much playing time as possible. But once again, you do not want to risk any injury in a very meaningless game. You want to make sure that he is healthy. But it sounds like Matt Eberflus and the Chicago Bears coaching staff have a good plan in place. And once again, to Matt Eberflus's point, another reason why you don't want to play Caleb Williams too much, because you want to make sure those other guys are healthy as well. You don't want to play Caleb Williams with the third string offensive line, right? And then all of a sudden, maybe someone comes at him and they get a free shot on Caleb Williams. Now Caleb Williams is injured, right? So you want to make sure he is playing with either the first or second stringers for the offensive line. That way he is protected, right? So it all depends on the health of the offensive line, the health on the guys on the outside as well. But I think once again, Matt Eberflus and the Chicago Bears coaching staff has a really good plan in place. I think 45 to 55 snaps for Caleb Williams will be perfect for him to get prepared for week 1 against the Tennessee Titans. But let me know down below on how many snaps you think Caleb Williams should actually play during the preseason. I would love to hear from you. But overall, Bears fans, day 1 of Chicago Bears training camp is now in the books. It seemed like a very simple day. Obviously, day by day, the camp practices will elevate a little bit more. It'll be a little bit more of a heavy workload as well, but it was just day 1. So things will progress. Things will get more competitive as training camp begins to progress, but it seemed like a really good day of work for the Chicago Bears on day one of training camp. But as always, Bears fans, make sure you continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of KIEQ on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for all new Bears podcasts right here on KIEQ on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You've been listening to KIEQ on the Mic, a podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Thanks, guys, and bear down.